Hey there, welcome to my channel, Libby Builds. My name is Aaliyah, and this is a speed build renovation of Daisy Hovel in Willow Creek. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and come back for more. So now let's get into it. Hey there! We have just loaded into Willow Creek at Daisy Hovel, and I am deleting everything in the house, all the walls, and I'm changing out the layout and making it just a little bit more of a horizontal than vertical house, just to give it a little better curb appeal from the road, because I do not like Daisy Hovel in that it's just a straight rectangle. I do not like that, so I decided, let's bring two little add-ons to the side of the house. So that is the first move I made with this house, and it is still a one-bedroom starter home in Willow Creek, so it's still base game. And so I kept that all the same. It's literally just a renovation to make it look a little bit nicer. And I do like doing renovations in The Sims. I think they're pretty fun. I don't do them all the time, but I definitely want to try to do as many as I can, and maybe like just probably do only the base game ones for start. And then if I end up finishing all the ones in the two base game worlds anyways, because New Crest has none, if I end up finishing all of those, then I can move on to another world if I feel like it. But I don't know if I'll end up getting around to doing them all, but I hope so. But I don't know. I'm not convinced. Because there are so many worlds and so many different houses. Like, I will have to say that if I skip any world at redoing, it would probably be like that I own anyways at the moment. It would probably be the Island Living Sulani, just because I'm not as confident in making island builds as I am for other homes. Like, maybe with practice I can do it, but I don't know. I don't know if I can necessarily make them look better. I can make them look completely different, but I don't know if I could necessarily change them slightly to just look a little better. But so yeah, like I said, just starting off with base game worlds. And I have to say, this renovation was a little bit of a struggle for me, just because my most recent build was a large mansion. It was a modern mansion. So if you want to check that build out, it's on the gallery, and it's doing really well. It's my best, most downloaded house on the gallery, and I'm really proud of that. But anyways, besides that little plug, I came into this after just doing a really big modern mansion, so I kind of started off going a little bit crazy and not really paying attention to the funds that much, because I was like, yeah, I'm sure I'll be fine, I'll be under the starter funds point. But I end up halfway through having to delete a few things, and then at the end having to delete more things just to make sure that it stays under the starter funds. So hopefully I can have a little better awareness next time I try to do a starter home, but that's just because I hadn't done a starter home in a while. I've been doing just whatever I kind of feel like recently, so yeah, hopefully next time I pay attention a little bit more. So yeah, this house I end up making slightly smaller later on, just to save a little bit more money, because the walls do cost money in the end, right? So I end up making a little bit smaller and scooting forward the kitchen and everything just up a tile, just to save more money. And I do have a little deck on the back, and I was really excited. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna keep this deck and make it so that this house has an easy access to the backyard, because I never end up being able to do that in starter homes, because it costs money, a lot of money, to have a little deck and another door off the house. And I was so excited to keep that in, and then I ended up deleting it. So it did not stay, unfortunately, but I thought I could do it, but not in this build at least. Maybe if I do a bunch of starter builds in a row and I'm used to not spending a lot of money on a house, then I can save up the money to do that. Maybe if it's a really, really small house, more of a tiny build, because this one is not a tiny build. Actually, I have no idea if it's under 100 tiles. It might be, but it's not. It's just normal residential. But maybe it was more a tiny living sized home, then I could be able to put a little deck off of it. obviously under a base game it wouldn't be able to be in a tiny residential lot anyways, because then it wouldn't be base game anymore. But you get my point, hopefully. Just rambling on here now. But so yeah, I really do like the kitchen. I like that it's in a little nook off the house, because I find out a lot of the times I end up putting it just in the corner for like smaller homes like this. But I think this was kind of a cool idea, just putting it in a little nook like that, because it makes it still feel like it's big and open without it kind of just being the same old. So yeah, that's what I thought was pretty cool. And it also like helps defining the line between the tile and the hardwood, because I'm not a huge fan of when I have to like put tile just like in a square corner in the room, so I usually just end up making my kitchens be wood as well as the living room. So this one I was able to do the tile without making myself like uncomfortable about it, because normally I don't like it because it's just too big of a contrast, and that's just because that's just my personal style, I suppose. Is I don't like tile that much. I love hardwood though. I think it looks so nice in real life, and The Sims can be okay sometimes, and I have to question, like at this house, I changed the hardwood to the cheapest one. Like I have to question why it wasn't already the cheapest one, like in the EA build version. Like why wasn't it? Because it just like saves so much more money, because I think the first thing I did when I came in was I changed the flooring to the cheaper hardwood, and it just like saved so much money, and it was just so worth it, because then I was able to put like better things in the house. And I remembered a trash can. That is something I never remember to put in a kitchen. I just, like in The Sims, it's not like a necessity in my mind. It's, if anything, it's more of an annoyance, because then your Sims will throw things out there and then they have to empty that into the one outside. So usually like I just forget about it and then just leave it so that they have to bring all their garbage outside directly, which would be horrible if it was like reality. But I ended up remembering one, which I know I'm not the only one that forgets trash cans in the kitchen. Like I've definitely watched so many videos where people are like, I've remembered it, or they remember it like last second. But yeah, so if you ever watch any future videos, there's a good chance I'll forget the trash can in the kitchen, but that's okay. I'm not that upset by it. And so yeah, I also made the bathroom a little bit smaller, mostly because I didn't have any money to furnish, so I was like, there's no way I'm keeping this bathroom that size. And okay, if you can see there, if you saw that, the roof was missing a piece and there was a gap. I ended up going in after this, after I filmed this, and I just double checked to make sure everything was okay, and it wasn't, so I fixed it. So if you want to download this on the gallery, it is fixed, don't worry. I did go back and double check, and I didn't play test it, but I literally see no reason on why nothing, like some things wouldn't work. So I usually only play test when it's questionable, where it's like, can someone really get into the shower? Is the toilet in the way? But no, so I didn't play test it, but I see no reason on why anything wouldn't work. And another thing I did to save money there was I changed that hallway wall into a half wall. I did want a little bit of separation between the living room, and I also just needed a place to put the TV console and the TV on without like, so I was like, okay, I can't just completely get rid of this wall. There needs to be something for this table to be up against. So I did just change it to a half wall, which it makes sense, but I never even thought about it. But half walls are cheaper. Never once thought about it before, but they're cheaper. So I end up doing that, and instead, just to save a little bit of money. And the most important thing that I did to save money, because the house is already worth like 20 grand at this point. All of the landscaping is debugged, so it was all free. So if it wasn't for debug, this house would have probably been a lot smaller to save the money to be able to landscape, and I probably wouldn't have done as much landscaping as I did. And also I didn't end up doing this, but I was planning on putting that fern there into that pot that's in just randomly in the front yard and putting that in the house as like a potted plant. And I do that a few times, but it ended up being cheaper just to size up one of the smaller plants and putting it in the corner. But I do often do that where I'll take like a cool like outdoor plant and I put it inside just a one of those pots, just so that it looks like a potted plant instead of just a one that you would put in your garden. And that's definitely a nice hack if you don't know that. I know a lot of people do know that, so anyone watching this probably already knows. But also, yeah, you can totally see right there the roof I was talking about before and how it's just not good. But don't worry, I went back and fixed it, so it's just not shown in this footage of me fixing it, so, but do not worry. And but in general, I just wanted this house to look a little bit better from the road, because even if you don't play in this house, but if you download it for the street, like it just looks a lot better when your Sims like walk past it, I think, anyways. In my opinion, I think it looks a lot nicer. And so part of like the whole curb appeal thing was having all those columns on the corner, so I did end up deleting all the ones on the back of the house, but I kept all the ones at the front because they were necessary for the curb appeal. And because I couldn't afford the planters, I did just use terrain paint to make little soil squares. And then I went on and I just downloaded a room quickly and took a bunch of like perfect level plants. I do have seasons installed, so none of these plants are from seasons, but you can't see all of them just because I do have seasons, so they weren't in season, so they're just little mounds of dirt. But don't worry, they're all there. I did leave 2 spots left open for if your Sim just wanted to add whatever plants they wanted to. But yeah, so we're just coming up to the end of this now. I'm just adding some terrain paint and I'm gonna fix those stairs, but the screenshot should be rolling in just a second after I finish deleting just a few more items in the house. So just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe and like the video. So thank you so much. Bye.